we couldn't have asked for a better panel to kick off this evening. Because what is Web 3.0 if it is not about how it touches people? And the gentlemen here their work touches people at a very profound way. Kaustubh Dhavse is the chief advisor to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra on investments and strategy, very much part of the war room defining key governance initiatives around investments and around the future of Maharashtra. And Vishesh Sarangal is just about an hour ago taken charge as Secretary Good Governance and Information Technology for the government of Punjab. He served in, I think, 2/3 of Punjab's districts. And he reminded me just before we got on, look, I've just taken charge 1 hour before in this department. But he's driving, and he will be driving tech change in Punjab for the next foreseeable future. So let me begin by asking you, Kaustubh. We are sitting in Mumbai. The Maharashtra government is working on a framework for the tokenization of land assets. Chief Minister Fadnavis announced that at the Global FinTech Summit. The objective of Maharashtra to be the first state with land tokenization in the country. So what does that really mean, and what will it do for Maharashtra's economy?
Thank you. A very good evening to all of you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Maharashtra obviously is the economic powerhouse of the country. 15% of our national GDP contribution, and Mumbai is the financial, commercial and entertainment capital. We have already set a very ambitious target of becoming a $1 trillion economy by 2029. We are at about 552 billion right now, and we are growing at about 10.2% CAGR in the last 7 years, barring COVID years. So we are at a very important point in the history of the state in order to make sure that we not only kind of adopt a certain set of changes which are required in order to fire the economy, in order to make sure that we are utilizing our assets effectively, and at the same time making sure that we are laying out a very robust, transparent ecosystem for people to participate in this new journey that we call, Vikasit Maharashtra. Now, in that entire journey, obviously, there are several pillars to that journey. One important pillar is obviously, infrastructure-led growth, which the Honorable Chief Minister has driven right from the time he took over in 2014. Till date, we have executed more than $39 billion worth of infrastructure projects. You all have experienced the Atal Setu, the Coastal Road, the Navi Mumbai Airport, which is starting in December, the underground and overhead metros, the Samruddhi Mahamarg. So there has been increased impetus to make sure that infrastructure-led growth gets topmost priority. And it is a necessity also because Maharashtra has been a laggard between 2000 and 2014, and that's why it lost out significantly to several states in various areas. The other thing that Maharashtra is very deeply focused on is policy-led industrialization. I'm very happy to say that we have the highest numbers when it comes to industrial output, when it comes to exports, when it comes to per capita contribution in manufacturing. It forms a significant portion of our economy, but most importantly, we are driving towards advanced manufacturing ecosystems, and we are making sure that industries, conventional or otherwise, are getting the necessary support from the government. But the reason why I wanted to give this background is because the third piece is technology-led revolution. Now, in that, the most important piece that we have already decided to announce is the fact that we want to become the first fully tokenized state. Now, Maharashtra is taking a lead in this direction, and what it essentially means for all of us is that there is this outstanding untapped potential that we have in our state. The potential of our real estate assets, the potential of, so much of wealth that is, underperforming, so to speak. And if for example, on a very rudimentary level, if somebody needs to, let's say, mortgage his house, typically it takes anywhere between 3 to 6 months for everything to do with clearance of titles and so on and so forth. So what Maharashtra is essentially saying under the leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis is that we will become the first tokenized state. We will create a mechanism and an ecosystem by taking all regulators in place, using blockchain technology in order to create a digital asset. So what it essentially means is that your real estate essentially now doesn't just sit in paper, but it sits as an asset which is fully legal, fully verifiable, and verifiable trust using blockchain. What it allows you to do is allows you to use that to monetize. Now, how that will essentially transform into various products and services is a journey that we have yet to take. But this is the direction that we have taken, and it's already been announced.
Vishesh, I'll come to you in a second, but I wanted you to, we were talking outside just now, and let's break this down a bit further on what does tokenization mean. The example that you gave of the Sachivalaya building, for example, what does it mean, what does tokenization mean in terms of unlocking monetization value for assets?
See, the whole point is that whenever, the typical conventional method of valuation of any asset, especially the real estate asset, is a modicum which has been established. There is the valuation mechanism, then there is a verification mechanism, then there is a legal scrutiny of the title. The whole background has to be checked. In many cases, there are advertisements that need to be put in the newspaper is, if you have any claim, please, write to us, so on and so forth. But by putting this entire system on a blockchain-backed tokenized network, will involve regulatory framework, will involve an exchange of the type that NPCI does for UPI, will involve connectivity across all these ecosystems to create, let's say, a number, a unique identification for your particular real estate asset. Now, that asset becomes an value at a point in time, right, which you can then use to take the necessary financial exposure in order to fund your business, and that can metamorphose into industrial use, into government use, into retail use. So it is essentially a mechanism to make your life easier when you are in that journey.
So Vishesh, Maharashtra has pinned its colors to the mast, right? That how they are looking at tech-led change, and this being a flagship project, that is part of a wider vision for development over the next, say, 4 or 5 years. What is Punjab's view on this? They're very different states. Punjab is landlocked, very agrarian, politically on different sides of the divides, but we're not talking about politics today. But how does blockchain and new tech look for you in Punjab from where you sit?
Thank you, Nalin. Good evening, everyone. Punjab has been working for many years now for developing citizen-centric applications. We have been pioneer with eSeva app as well as other applications. Currently, we are having the maximum number of citizen-centric services in Punjab which are online. Approximately out of 846 services that we have identified which a citizen would require to interact with government, 436 services are already online. We have created that ecosystem where a person needs to go, doesn't even need to go to a government office. They can directly go into any Seva Kendra, get this application made, track these applications online and get the services delivered. As well as we have created an ecosystem where a citizen can order a service sitting at home by just dialing a toll-free number which is 1076, and the services will be delivered. The person will come to their home, will fill in all the application and deliver the services to their homes. With this, we currently looking at Web 3.0. We are looking at this technology in a way to solve our next generational problems. For example, if I am looking at agriculture, how does pest control and weather patterns affect the produce or the final outcome of my farm? How can I integrate the soil health data that I have with the kind of input cost which is required, like pesticides, insecticides and fertilizers for soil? For health, I want to understand how can disease prediction, because we had a very good experience with COVA while during COVID times. We developed that application much before COVIN was developed. So COVA app had all the facilities, and which was later on also came into COVIN app.
41 different use cases on governance you looked
yes,
at on
we currently have identified, right? So 41 use cases across different departments spanning from taxation, tourism, agriculture, education, my own department. and these use cases are currently in nascent stage. We have sent the entire spectrum and structure to the concerned administrative departments. They are looking at it, and once they okay the entire system, then we would be able to develop these structures.
Right. Kaustubh, you worked in the private sector. You worked in government at different points of time. In your understanding, what is the biggest gap between blockchain's promise and what policymakers and how policymakers understand it?
No, I believe that essentially blockchain is verifiable trust. It's a technology which is conceived in such a way that it enables you to use it as a layer to make sure that your documents have a certain 100% level of so tamper proof, if I may use the word. Now, blockchain obviously has been known for a very long time. It's categorized as a frontier technology, a fourth industrial revolution, but we have not used or spoken about the other applications that it can deliver. There is one application that it delivers, and that's been talked about a lot, but there are several other blockchain applications that can be used. For example, in the government of Maharashtra, we use blockchain-based evidence management system. Now, this has been a historical problem for us that, when the whole process is complete and the case goes for conviction, there have been cases where there has been evidence of tampering of the verifiable evidence that should have been, presented in court. So, in order to prevent these instances of human intervention after the entire forensic collection has been done, it has been put in a blockchain system. It provides a certain level of certainty, and it makes sure that the whole judiciary and the police enforcement mechanism can make sure that the decisions are right. It's also being used for certification. So blockchain has a certain applications across a wide variety of areas. Government adoption has been slow because of the nature of the conversations that have happened around blockchain. Platforms like these and are very essential for, and especially both private sector and government officials to talk about.
Away from speculation to real.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much beyond exchanges. It's real, and it delivers, and it also delivers one very interesting product which has been successful in a certain world. But it can also deliver much more than that, and I think we need to focus on the tech that it can help and the problems it can solve.
So I have a question for both of you, because both of you work on the intersection of technology, of governance, and of innovation. It seems to me that, when Aadhaar was created, when UPI was created, most people didn't understand. People thought it's a lot of people didn't understand how it would change the economy completely when the Jam Trinity was created and so on and so forth. Are we at the cusp of the next wave? And how do you see blockchain, how do you see Web 3.0 transforming Indian governance, say, for the next 5 to 10 years? Vishesh, if we can start with you and then.
Very relevant question. As of now, I believe the infrastructure is yet to be placed because for us to develop Web 3.0, we need to have that kind of infrastructure where our innovators, where our academicians, where our the private sector should have a place where they can sandbox, they can test, control, and find a very verifiable outcome which can be generated through these technologies. So currently, we as a country and a state, we are lagging behind in creating that kind of infrastructure, but we are moving forward. We are definitely on the track. Once we have the infrastructure, we have more data centers, more indigenized way of making our applications, we would be in a better position to create these applications. As of now, currently we are at a very starting stage.
Right, thanks. Kaustubh.
Yeah, I mean, I echo the same sentiment. Web 3.0 brings a different set of thinking. It's basically inbuilt transparency and at the same time the ability to scale. Most importantly, it provides you to deploy applications which we know for a matter of fact have not been able to successfully solve complex issues. Some of them I have already cited. So my sense is that a very, very early adoption will help government understand and fine tune it to make sure that we are able to deliver at scale.
So, it used to be once said that the areas where India leapfrogged earlier were areas where the government didn't really realize things were working on those, right? So the question I have for you is that regulation is both an enabler and a challenge, right, for emerging tech. So how can we think about designing an enabling regulatory environment that encourages blockchain and Web3 innovation for deployment of services on large scale for the poor in this country? So how would you, because that's not easy thing to do and there is a lot of suspicion around that. So how would you think, what would your suggestions be from where you sit?
See, I think we have to move blockchain conversation beyond speculation to the real strength that it has and what it can deliver. It has successfully delivered certain products and services. It may not be mass use for generics across the country, but the technology can deliver much more. Regulation is essential and has to be an enabler. The way the technology landscape is changing, policymakers like me are struggling to keep pace. And I have to admit this because every single day a newer set of challenges coming. Whether it is delivering a loan on a mobile app, and what's the source and what's the funding and what's the regulatory mechanism to do that. So there is so much of innovation out there, and regulation is keeping pace and is struggling to keep pace. But having said that, I think conversations are happening, and wherever we feel that there is adoption at scale possible and it is helpful for the government, it is definitely a push, especially under the regime of this government. You will see many, many more areas being explored, piloted, and then concrete steps taken to develop it at scale.
So Vishesh, what's the view on regulation from Chandigarh?
Let me first answer the first part of the question. Currently, what I see is there's a digital divide, and we have to address both sides of the spectrum. For urban population who are very good with data, who are very good with technology, who understand the technology that way, we can definitely create solutions where people would come in and create new solutions for us, and these can be implemented into our daily lives. For the other spectrum, which is a rural hinterland which doesn't understand technology that way, Web 3.0 has a long way to go. We need to create more decentralized systems, especially the system that I talked about, like doorstep delivery of services, plus new age mobile application which are there in their own language, the language they understand, which is easy to understand. And then combining on top, these two technologies should come together, for which Punjab is currently developing a state data integration platform where both sides of the spectrum will be collated at one place, and then Web 3.0 will be modeled on the top of it. By doing so, we would be able to understand how does interoperability between different departments will work, what kind of services a citizen will require. Let's say, if I want to go for a registration of my child's birth, and I want to take a different set of facility with a different department, how does the parameters which I've already uploaded, the documentation which I've already uploaded, can be used by the other department? So in that, regulation will definitely play a role. We cannot regularize it as of now to the extent because the technology itself is evolving.
Right. So, Kaustubh, we are running out of time. So I have a question for both of you on this. Two questions really. One, how will blockchain and how will Web 3.0 or blockchain systems integrate with the existing public digital infrastructure like Aadhaar, like DigiLocker and so on? Because you guys have done a fair bit of thinking on this, maybe not down to the last mile, but a significant amount of things. So what's your thinking on that? And B, how much of this is still in the pilot phase, and how fast how ready are we for large scale government applications?
You want to go first?
So, depending on the systems that we have in place, for example, For us, Punjab being an agrarian society, we have a very robust supply chain management system. We already have everything on our e-Mandikaran board, e-Anaj Khareed portal. So these two systems are already there. What we require is a system on top of it, which is talking to both of these systems and trying to find out the most optimized solutions for movement of food grains, let's say from one place to another, for a movement of farmer to take his produce to the mandi. So currently he likes to go to a mandi where he is more comfortable with, but probably there might be a more optimized solution available with that farmer, which we can't see as of now. So the portals which are already matured, these portals are ready to uptake these technologies. For other services, we need some time.
I think, there is a concept in computer science called layers of abstraction. So for, somebody who uses technology, you're at the highest level of abstraction. And as you go down, things become more and more complicated. I think for the end user, especially for our citizens, I think what they expect is that whatever we have conceived the application for, whether it is able to successfully deliver at scale. And what we have to ensure that is the construct of the way the application is designed. You said that, are we in a pilot stage? No, blockchain has been piloted and blockchain is now in full-fledged implementation in several applications across the board. My sense is that we have to identify areas where we feel that this particular technology can be an enabler, can solve a problem. If there is a doubt in someone's mind that yes, this is a problem and it deals with transparency, it deals with verification, blockchain is a perfect fit. Blockchain is nothing but a system to help you verify trust. And I think governments are going to increasingly use it on various areas. I can leave this stage by saying that in the next few months, as I was telling you inside, we are sandboxing this entire pilot for tokenization. We are creating mock regulators. We are also creating a mock exchange. And we are going to make sure that how that entire transaction rotates. And then we are going to call all the regulators and show them the real piece of how it works. When we are able to deliver that in 6 months, then we will go full-fledged in the implementation.
I think that's a fascinating idea, and I think we'll all be watching very closely to see the outcome of this experiment or this pilot that you're doing. That's a great note to end this on. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for Kaustubh Dhavse and for Vishesh Sarangal. Thank you very much.